later on as the recorded version. Just a reminder, please feel very welcome to use the comment section to ask any questions throughout the session. And if you could give me a signal that the sound and video is actually working right now by adding a comment or saying hello in the comment section, that would be awesome. Also, as this is a Sunday, it's a laid-back session lasting around 30 minutes, so feel free to just chill out and enjoy. And as many of you will know, I'm the CEO of RealNifty. Now, this is a new and curated NFT marketplace with a focus on the physical and digital when it comes to fine art. We help creatives showcase their NFT collections to the world. You can check it out now over at www.realnifty.xyz. So we've actually launched a marketplace with 5 fantastic launch artists recently, and with this in mind, the recent Sunday sessions have been based around one of the launch artists each week. And this week, I'm very honored to introduce Tino Belasco, who is representing one of our launch artists, Gianluca Franzese. So Tino, welcome to the Sunday session, and how are you today?
Thank you, Jamie. Well, happy to be here. I'm doing fantastic. It's a sunny day in San Francisco, and got big plans to make some sounds with some friends on drums after this is over at Hippie Hill.
Well, there you go. Couldn't think of a better day than that. There you go. So just an overview before Tino dives into more details for us. Gianluca Franzese is a San Francisco-based abstract artist who incorporates metal elements and geometric shapes into his artwork. And it's hard not to say that his artwork is truly one of a kind. His collection on the RealNifty marketplace is called Gilded, and it's now available for purchase. So Tino, now you can dive into why you're here representing Gianluca, you know, a bit about his artwork, and even a bit about how you sort of came to, you know, be friends with Gianluca and, you know, start this whole situation.
Cool, man. Yeah, thank you. It's a really interesting story. Gianluca and I have been friends for 20 years. Our children are born one day apart from each other, and yeah, we've always been close friends. And I kind of got into the Web3 space and started thinking about the value that it delivers to creators and artists, and immediately thought of Luca. You know, he's a traditional artist. He's not tech savvy, doesn't really care about, you know, anything outside of making great art. And he's really good at Instagram, so he's got a really formidable Instagram presence. But I approached him with the idea of creating NFTs of his art. And, you know, told him all the benefits that are behind that. And he was excited about it. And so we began this journey.
Awesome. And yeah, tell us a bit more about Gianluca and how and why you're here representing him today.
Okay. Just a little history on me. My name is Tino Belasco. I have been in the wine business, the luxury space, for about 20 years. I've done a lot of stuff. I've owned a wholesale distribution company. I've owned a high-end restaurant. I love art, and Gianluca is a deaf Italian-born immigrant. Grew up in New York, as Jamie mentioned. Resides in San Francisco now. He has a tough time hearing because of his hearing impairment, and so I act on his behalf in terms of doing all the business stuff, representing him publicly, and finding opportunities for him as well. So we make a really great team, and he's a tremendous artist, and I'm just honored to be working with him.
Yeah, I mean, like some of his pieces that I've seen in his collection and outside of his collection that I've seen have been absolutely fantastic. And what people might not know is he uses a lot of metal work in some of his art. So yeah, tell us a bit more about that process and how he incorporates this metal into his artwork.
Yeah, it's a labor-intensive, painstaking process, and I mean, the guy's a visionary. You know, it's all based on geometry and shapes, and you know, often when he starts a piece, he's not exactly sure where the pattern's going to go. Once he gets a good idea of the direction it's going, he starts to incorporate metal leafing, and that's 22 karat gold, 18 karat gold, 12 karat white gold, aluminum, silver, copper, and imitation gold. And each of those mediums contributes something different to the overall piece in terms of shine, depth, color, and so forth. Ultimately creating works that are multidimensional and transformative in nature.
Fantastic. And like you say, because there's a lot of metal involved, obviously this can like the price can actually fluctuate after, you know, you purchase something, because the prices of fine metals can go up and down.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and that was sort of a big component. You know, it's like in the seas of cartoons with no real value. I was like, wow, this is an actual tangible piece of art that literally appreciates and depreciates with the price of each respective element. I mean, what a great candidate for an NFT project. And so we just kind of jumped right in and went for it, man. And it's been an absolute thrill ride.
Yeah, and I love the thoughts process behind that as well. And the other thing I like about his art, which can be sometimes hard to capture as an NFT, is that when you view the pieces from different angles and different lighting, because of the reflections of the metal, they can actually, you know, look very different.
Oh, 100%. In fact, you know, that's something we struggled with in the beginning. Is it's like we minted static images of the art, which is great, right? Like you get a good feeling of the art, and I'm all about it. But what we found is that we were able to offer a little bit more immersiveness and engagement through animating some of these works, and then further creating like augmented reality components to it. So, you know, I think that just Web3 and NFTs in general offer fine artists and creators in general opportunities to enhance what they're already doing and create more of a sort of engaging feeling for the collectors and fans.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely Gianluca really does bring that to the table. I mean, and like you say, he really does have a big following. Like on Instagram, I think he's got over 40,000 followers on there, and it's allowed him to really sort of work with other companies as well. I mean, I know that he's previously worked with Meta, which was previously Facebook, and he created a piece for them. So yeah, tell us a bit more about that and how that came to be.
Yes, that's exactly right. So Gianluca is formidable presence on Instagram. Formidable presence, excuse me. Yeah, as Jamie mentioned, 40,000 plus followers. You know, a lot of big brands follow him. A lot of designers, a lot of textile manufacturers, and over the last few years, he's had a lot of interest. As Jamie mentioned, Facebook hit him up. They found him on LinkedIn. They then commissioned him to paint the 65-foot mural on their elevator tower at their Menlo Park headquarters, which
Wow.
exists there now in the common space for all to see. It's stunning. In fact, I've posted a couple of videos that Meta created, sort of showcasing Gianluca and his work specific to that piece.
It's fantastic. You know, when Facebook hits you up, you know you're onto something good. You know.
Yeah, no, the guy doesn't suck at this. He's pretty good. And additionally, similarly, Tiffany and Company also found him on Instagram and then flew some of their reps out from Italy to Art Basel to see his work, and then commissioned him for some pieces that now grace their main space in Milan, where they do all their big deals.
Fantastic. No, and I can see why. I mean, his pieces really are like one of a kind, and obviously with Tiffany's, you got the fine metal. You know, it's kind of like relationship there, so that's really good to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and speaking of that, just to sort of further elaborate on sort of the scope of the project and some of the things that are ahead, you know, speaking about Tiffany and Company and thinking about sort of the CryptoPunks collaboration they did and how quickly that sold out and what a great success it was. Given that Gianluca's father is a jeweler, we're also going to continue to further translate his fine art into objects, which will ultimately become jewelry and other products that go to market.
Fantastic. That's great. And yeah, let's talk about a bit about his collection on RealNifty Marketplace. So it's entitled Gilded, and for me, it really is mesmerizing. And you've got a great story behind one of the pieces that is called Chainmail. So yeah, tell us a bit more about the collection and especially the Chainmail piece.
I will absolutely. So gilded refers directly to the style and the technique that Luca uses in terms of using the fine metal leafing we mentioned earlier. Yes, it's a funny story. I you know, coming into this with Gianluca, he hadn't the foggiest idea what the blockchain was, what cryptocurrency really was. Of course, he'd heard the word, more specifically Ethereum. And you know, in 2020, he's creating these works. And, you know, I walked into the studio one day and he's got this giant wood panel that's got all these ETH logos on it. I was like, dude, is that by design? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, that's literally the Ethereum logo. And so I pulled it up on my phone and I showed him. And he just kind of shook his head, and we're sitting there looking at each other like, what? And I was like, what's the name of this piece? He says, it's chainmail. I lost my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. So what you're in essence telling me is that you by happenstance created a piece that emulates the Ethereum logo, which is the very blockchain we intend to mint this on, and you named it chainmail. It was this sort of cosmic moment where we realized that this is organically where we're supposed to be and the direction we should be going. And it's pretty remarkable. I encourage everybody who's in the crowd to go check it out. It's wild piece, beautifully put together, and it's got a lot of depth.
I mean, it really just was meant to be. After I heard that story, it was just crazy. And like Tino said, please go over to the RealNifty marketplace and check it out, because it's a really special piece. And with a story like that behind it, it just automatically, he kind of came towards this Ethereum, piece that just, it was, it was worlds colliding and just happened.
Collective consciousness, man. I believe in it.
This is it, definitely. So, I mean, the abstract nature for me has really allowed Gianluca to be very inventive. I mean, where does he actually get his ideas from, would you say? And how is his process for actually creating these pieces?
Well, he takes inspiration from the world around him, the colors that we see, the feelings that we get. His most recent collection, which there are a couple of pieces on the RealNifty website, works on Gesso Fabriano paper. He recently did a residency in Half Moon Bay here in California, spent a month in a gorgeous beach house looking at the water, and he created a collection of works that sort of showcase the elements of nature, whether that's waves crashing, the first rays of light, or so forth. And so all that to say, the inspiration comes from everywhere. While he declares that he's not trying to be symbolic about anything, he just wants to make beautiful work. I think that all lends to being unencumbered and allowing inspiration to come from every direction.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of the videos, and everyone should check these out as well. And we'll be posting some on the RealNifty channels, as well as when you look at Gianluca's. But some of the pieces of him, videos of him working. I mean, it almost does look like a metal workshop at times when he's creating these pieces.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, handling the material is really difficult. It breaks, it sticks to you, it tears, and so it's a very labor-intensive process. Some of these were, I mean, there's a piece that he has yet to complete in his studio. He's been working on for 11 months.
Wow.
Yeah. No, some of these pieces take a very, very long time to produce.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, he goes from these massive, really sort of complex pieces to a smaller, more even handheld pieces at times.
Right. Yeah. He wants to, his work is pretty expensive. I mean, it's not cheap. And so in an effort to offer broader access to art lovers to be able to procure this artwork, he's sort of diversifying what he's creating in terms of size and, canvas and so forth. The giant works on panels are, north of 10 grand. Some cases, 50 grand, depending on the size of the piece. So to be able to offer the art community at large, collectors and so forth, access to these works at a approachable price is something that's very important to him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, definitely. And it also broadens, I guess, his audience as well. And that kind of leads on to my next question, which is more about what, I mean, obviously you've been with Gianluca since the start and of his transition to Web3, and you've been great for that. And I was just wondering what you feel about the benefits of artists entering the Web3 space, and what would you say from your personal experience is the best way for artists to, take their first steps?
Okay, so that's a great question. I think ownership and authenticity are at the center of the value in artists, right? Making sure that they're getting that recognition and royalty as this thing continues to sell on secondary. And I mean, that's just the low hanging fruit. But as you and I know, and as we've discussed, it really offers a lot more potential in terms of creating an immersive experience and really connecting with your audience. And then repeat the second part of your question, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just, I was wondering what your views are, how we can, I guess, entice people to come to Web3. What would your advice be for those artists that are taking their first steps into Web3?
The first thing I would do is educate your existing community on why you want to be a part of Web3, what the benefits are for artists and collectors, inclusive of engagement, authenticity, and everything that we've discussed. I think that would be step one, right? Because educating our community is what's going to get them to go, not yes, but hell yes, right? So I think really education is the fulcrum of this space, particularly as we crescendo into hopefully mass adoption and people around the globe and beyond understanding why this is such an important technology, not only for artists and creators, but for business in general.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree with that, Tino. And as you know already, this is exactly what RealNifty are trying to do. We're trying to make that process easier for artists to actually, try out Web3, not just there for people that the artists that are already in Web3, but we've been like on the phone. We've been trying to help artists, set up wallets and crypto wallets if that's something they needed help with. And we've tried to create the marketplace in a way where users can actually really get into Web3 for the first time. And we've realized what other marketplaces didn't really have was that communication with creatives and stuff. So that's why we input this messaging system into the marketplace, which allows people using it to actually contact the artists to ask them more questions about their work. Because I feel that's not just important for the people that are looking into artwork for the first time, but also for the artists themselves to really converse and tell them exactly what they feel, for example, are pieces that they're selling on there, or just there's going to be people that are new to the art world that are actually joining in. And I just love that we're able to give them more access, because a lot of fine art actually has in the past been very difficult for just the normal person to get involved with, even if they wanted to. It's kind of like a closed ecosystem in some areas, and I think like with Web3 and artists that are happy to give it a go, we're really getting to a stage where we can open this industry and open this wonderful world of creativity to more people.
Absolutely. No, yeah, 100%. And I, sort of to echo and punctuate, RealNifty's move with regard to creating that communication channel for the artists and the collectors. I think it's something that we should be talking about more, something that's really special and important about the RealNifty marketplace, Jamie, because you know how I feel about the traditional brick and mortar art gallery scenario and the encumbrances thereof with regard to, these gallery owners insulating the client from access to the artist, which then creates a really ugly sort of dark scenario. The artists are resentful that they can't get access to their clients and so forth. So this is absolutely game changing, and I'm really excited to be a part of it, man. This is so cool.
No, thanks. We're glad to have you on board with this as well, Tino. I mean, for anyone that's in the crowd right now as well, if you do have any questions for Tino or about Gianluca or Tino himself, please feel free to ask now, and we'll put those questions out on the screen. But in the meantime, Tino, I mean, I'd love for you to tell people a bit more about yourself as well, because for some people, you might know that Tino can be called NFTino, which is wearing his shirt at the moment, which was, I believe that was bought for you by your daughter, wasn't it?
That's correct, yes.
It's an awesome t-shirt. But yeah, tell people a bit more about yourself and how you specifically got into Web3 and what your sort of thoughts are on where it's going.
Awesome. So I wear a lot of hats in Web3. I do everything from artist management to 3D asset development to metaverse activations and beyond. I got into Web3, like I said, because I wanted to help my friend broaden visibility and access to his work and realize royalties on secondary sales. And that was really the baseline of how I entered the space. And once we got into it and I realized I didn't know anything about anything, it was just go time. I spend all of my time. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and just ingest and extrapolate every piece of content pertaining to Web3, the blockchain, and so forth that I can. Through that and just doing my thing, we've been able to make tremendous connections. Last year, we got to team up with the NFT San Francisco conference and do a satellite activation here in the city at Lucas Studio. I actually created a virtual event as well, so that folks that weren't geographically located in or near the San Francisco Bay Area could enjoy the same content, see the NFTs, and be a part of the experience as well. And that's just a small example of some of the things we do. We do brand collaborations. Last year, we teamed up with a luxury spirits brand here in San Francisco, where they commissioned the label art. We minted 22 limited edition NFTs that include a fine art print and a bottle of whiskey with the beautiful label art. And you can see the shine on that.
That is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing, like bringing together the physical and digital in these kind of ways is just like, is revolutionary, and it's really gonna like create these new industries going forward.
Absolutely. No, and it just, again, one of Luca's dreams has always been to translate a piece that he's got called Rhombus into an actual object. And so working together and doing what we're doing, I was able to make that a reality for him. And now, like I said, we're going to take that shape and use it to create products.
Awesome. No, that's great. And yeah, I'd love to just get a few more words from you about the metaverse as well, because I know you're really big into this and you're doing some fantastic stuff in there at the moment. And we've also got an announcement with RealNifty as well, which you're working on. So yeah, please tell us a bit more about all of that.
Yeah, so I never thought I would be spending so much time in the metaverse, but I found a love for creating experiences outside of the real world. Being in the wine business, that's one thing I do, is I create experiences for my clients around wine and food. And so, thinking of ways to create experiences for my clients, specifically Gianluca, in terms of an art installation or exhibition that offers, 24/7 by 365 access, the metaverse is the only place to be. So once I realized that and realized what I was capable of creating, I was able to align with some key players that have now become part of my core team. And we are creating environments and have plans to do some really fun stuff. The most exciting thing specific to RealNifty is we built from scratch a beautiful spatial environment where we will showcase the RealNifty artists, have activations, parties, and so forth.
Awesome. And yeah, seriously, everyone is listening. I can't wait to show you this room, because Tino and his team have done such a fantastic job on it. And as some of you might know, we've currently got a portal gallery, which you can go through the RealNifty marketplace, and we're going to be adding this spatial event hub and gallery very soon, and we can't wait to show you what's been done with it, because it does look amazing. And yeah, Tina, I'm sure you'll be hosting one of our first live events in there.
Oh yes, sir. Already conceptualizing. I can't wait.
Cool. And we do actually have a special guest as well. So if I just put the screen up there.
Hey, sorry.
There he is. Nice.
It took me a while to get this on. So anyway, I'm here.
Nice. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Everyone, this is the legendary Gianluca Franzese.
Happy Sunday.
It's great to have you here, Gianluca. And yeah, like I say, we just love your collection that we've got on RealNifty. And Tino has just been just describing it perfectly and just doing some great work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And I'm a big fan of vinyl, so I'm just trying to appreciate your record player in the background there, which you can just about see.
I'm sure Tino already answered a lot of questions now. Yeah, I'm here to be answered. So what do you want to know?
Cool, Attaboy. No, Tino's answered most of the questions, but yeah, please just let us know a bit about. I guess you could dive into a bit more about the metalwork and how you integrate your process into your artwork?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, you have to have a plan. I mean, it's not something that you can just simply put the metal leaf. I mean, depending what you're doing. I mean, you know, and the majority of people that use metal leafing, you know, they use it for like framing and architectural purpose, like ornaments and stuff like that. But it's just like a, you know, just pure metal, whatever. So I think you know, I mean, another thing is people would also do, they would put a metal leaf and they just do a raw painting on top of it. I mean, that's as far as it can go. So I knew there was something more you can do to it, and I knew but the thing was, how can you do it? So basically, it's a lot of training, a lot of patience. You know, there's a lot of mediums out there that you need to figure out, and the trickiest part is how to get the paint stick onto metal permanently. You know what I mean? So, you know, all these years I've been working as a decorative painter. I've been a classical painter. There's a lot of mediums involved, and you're kind of like more of a scientist than a painter in a way. And so, you know, you just kind of play with it. You just kind of figure it out. And the thing what's really interesting today in the modern world is that there's more tools, there's more materials than there were back in the 1400s when Michelangelo was around. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of out there. If you know what you're doing, nothing's impossible. Yeah. So you know, for the first years when I first came from Italy to San Francisco, just right out of, you know, Florence Academy, you know, you know, I had to start somewhere. So I started out as a decorative painter. So I worked, you know, I was doing like, you know, mansions and doing like, you know, faux finishing and stuff, you know, stuff like that, whatever. So one job, they was considering doing a metal leafing job, and I never done it before. So when I was introduced to this material, and I just completely fell in love with it, and it just kind of gave me a flashback and working with my dad, you know, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I never see, you know, gold that thin before, you know what I mean? I always seen it like a single block, but not like a thing like, you know, paper size, you know? So I started playing with it, and I started really getting impressed with the quality, how delicate it is, and the weight, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, you know, as I was, you know, for I think maybe a year later or two, and I started learning more about how to handle it, and which is the most difficult part about metal leafing is how to handle the leaf, because otherwise it just breaks apart. So, you know, I was just playing, and I was like, you know what, I feel like I need to do something with this, you know, and I started experimenting. I spent a year experimenting in the studio. I decided to stop painting classical work because I just got sick of it. I mean, even though I appreciate it, and I think it's the best tool for every artist should do, is learn the basic. And classical is the good way to go, because it teaches you the light, it teaches you nature, how nature works. That's the key. And once you know that, you have more control over what you can do, whatever you want to do. You know, like for example, Picasso. He started out as a classical painter, and later on, we're like, what happened? I mean, which is fine, which is good. He found his voice. You know, he got more looser, but there's more meaning to it. You know what I mean? That's what became Picasso. But besides that, so I decided to just let it go. You know, it's like I need something fresh. I need something new. I need, you know, whatever. And I mean, honestly, I spent that whole year not making a dime. I spent more money buying material, trying to figure this shit out. And then I was like, I didn't care. You know, that was my drive. I just needed to find something. You know what I mean? Like I had to find the answer, and I did. So all these, you know, mediums after trying, and everything is falling apart and this and that. And then one day, it just boom, clicked. And so I slowly started something very simple, you know, just started using just one metal leaf with 3 acrylic paint, you know, just to get an idea how to control it. And then the next step was to understand how to do glazing. So like, how I want to make the gold look better, you know, like what can I do? So that took another while to figure it out. So you know, it's all experimenting, man. It's all experiment. If you have the time to experiment and lose money, it pays off, man. It pays off because I'm telling you, man, it's the only way. So it's the only way because, I mean, you can be doing, if you don't have that access or that freedom or that risk, I feel like you'll just be doing whatever other people are doing.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I'm so glad you said that, Gianluca, because a lot of people just don't realize the work and commitment that goes behind like finding that style and developing that. And it's fantastic to hear the stories behind that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's been a long ride. I mean, it hasn't, it didn't happen yesterday. You know what I mean? So but the thing is, now I'm like, I've been doing it for like, maybe almost 10 years now. I'm way more advanced than I was 5 years ago. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like, I feel like at this point, people still don't understand what my work looks like until they see it in person. Because you can't really capture that in photograph. You can't. I mean, the thing is, my work is reflective, and in every angle that you look at, and depending on time of day too. But when you're in a photograph, you're just seeing that one light. Boom, that's it. That's all you see. It's like a 2D painting. You know what I mean? So the thing is, what's nice about it, what's cool, is that when people really get to finally see it, and they go, oh, wow, that's pretty crazy, blah, blah, blah. I mean, not like that, but like more like they're more impressed with the craftsmanship of it, Yeah. So they wind up buying one, and then honestly, I swear to God, all my clients have 2 or 3 paintings of mine because they come back and they realize it's just actually pretty special because, when you put it in your own home, I mean, it's just, it's alive. You know what I mean? It's like it's actually its own augmented reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without even the digital stuff.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, Tino was saying this earlier, like you have to see it in real life to feel the different angles and the different light you can get from it.
I mean, that's the hard thing is, especially when you're like, especially when you're like trying to get reconnected with the new galleries, and it's hard for them to compromise with them, understanding what this painting is all about until they see it. You know what I mean? So, even like I get a lot of rejection. I really do. Because they have no fucking clue what they're looking at. Excuse my language. Until they see it. You know what I mean? So, but you know what? That's not my problem. I know what I see it. I know I have clients that understand my work. I have people that follow me or commission me. That's that's good enough. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, just like I said, man, it's just there's just so much. There's so much to be done in life. I mean, if you have the tools, if you have the mindset of understanding how to experiment and keep evolving, and then there's no limits. So that's my goal. So
no, I 100% agree with you there, and I just love the story that Tino told earlier about your chainmail piece, where it looks like the Ethereum logo, and it's just like the stars aligned,
No, it's really bizarre because those are 3 paintings I had to do for the show in Denmark, and they're all related to like the medieval kind of theme, whatever. So I had 3 paintings, like the crown of jewels. The other one was the what was the other one?
Ouroboros.
Oh, Ouroboros, and the chainmail. So they're all like part of the theme. And then he came over, and he's looking at that like all weird and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, relax. I'm like, relax, dude. What's going on here? He's like, you have no idea what that is? What do you mean? I painted it. And he's told me it's the logo and everything, and I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. I just never, listen, man, I'm in my own world, man. So everything is involved in 2 places: my home and my studio. Whatever's around me, I have no idea. If there's a bomb across the street, I don't even know. So that's my life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was literally just saying the same thing about your work, how it's hard to really get the feeling with a static image, and that when we started, we minted static images of the work, and then realized that by creating a more sort of immersive experiential scenario, it really ramped up the engagement and the eyes on us. So absolutely, dude, very cool. Glad you were able to make it in here.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a while to figure it out, but anyway, I'm here.
Not at all. No, thank you again. Like both of you, it's been fantastic chatting to you, and we'll have to start winding it down now. But if anyone in the audience does have any questions that they have for Gianluca or Tino, please just let us know. But in the meantime, I mean, yeah, both of you, I know, like Gianluca, you have loads of followers on Instagram. So if anyone wants to contact Gianluca, please do through there. Obviously, we have his collection gilded on the RealNifty marketplace for sale, and each one of his wonderful NFTs comes with the physical piece, which is delivered directly through the marketplace. So they're available now. Please just go and take a look, because they have some wonderful there's some wonderful pieces there, and it has all the explanation on there about how it's made and the dimensions and the metals involved in the process. So yeah, please go and have a look. And yeah, I mean, Tino, if anyone wants to contact you, what's the best place for them to do that?
You guys can hit me up at tino@fogcitysom.com. That's FOGCITYSOMM.
Awesome. And as always, as I said earlier, you can even contact Gianluca through the RealNifty marketplace. So that's one of the features we have on there. And we want people to really, find out what it is that the artists have behind their pieces. We want you to be able to converse about one of your favorites. If you have any questions, just reach out to us through there. So yeah, I mean, thanks to everyone that listened today, and I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new. And please, like I said, check out Gianluca's work on the RealNifty marketplace, www.realnifty.xyz. And on next week's Sunday session, we'll be learning about another one of our RealNifty launch artists, who is Emily Miller. So I'm really excited to introduce everyone a bit more to her. So more details to follow soon. So any final words, Tino or Gianluca, before we sign off?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to you and the RealNifty team for inviting us to be a part of this beta launch. All of your support through the course of this in terms of helping promote Gianluca's work and what we're building. And I'm excited about the future, man.
Awesome.
Indeed. And also, if you follow me on Instagram, I do a lot of posting on my stories. And most of this posting in my stories about the process. So I usually take pictures of daily process of my work in the studio. So people find it very interesting to see what I'm doing today and what it look like tomorrow. But they're all kind of like the same painting in the progress of like kind of, just moving along and just kind of get an idea how, just if you're interested. So follow me on Instagram. You can check out my stories and you can see the process work from there. So. And that's it, man. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. No, thanks for that, Gianluca. And yeah, we did mention earlier just how great it is to see your process through your videos on your socials. And yeah, please, everyone, just check it out, because it's really interesting to see these paintings really come to life. So yeah, again, everyone, thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we will see you next week. Cheers.
All right, take care. Ciao.